Howdy, folks. Guess what we're talking about again? Don't worry, we're going to move on from this. I realize that internet people are going to be like, well, now Jay's the one that can't move on from this. He's the one milking everything. Look at what this idiot's doing. This fat ass that needs to go do something with his life. Well, I am going to do something with my life, like move on from this topic, but not before we take a good, long look at this. 250 videos. 250 videos of this freaking influencer dogpile about Xbox Gamepassmageddon. This is what I was talking about, with everybody jumping on the bandwagon and milking the living shit out of this. He swore! Well, this channel is for grown-ups, so, yeah, I hope you're all grown-ups here. I'm not here to babysit anybody's kids, especially if they're pissed off that that daddy canceled my Game Pass or whatever because of the price increase. But I think really, people are just arguing for arguing's sake. Typical internet edgelord crap. Like, argue for arguing's sake, no matter how stupid it makes you look. That's kind of been the point of all of this, was to just have one good example of documenting how influencers dogpile stuff like this. And I think 250 videos is a pretty good cutoff point. Now, it's 250 videos as of today. Someone could always delete their video and private their video or whatever, and I'll just take it out of the list. And this playlist will inevitably shrink like numerous other playlists I've made over the years. But for now, I think 250 videos about people flipping their lids and having meltdowns on the internet about Xbox Game Pass is enough. The reason why I wanted to do this is to just showcase just how much people chase algorithms. Some of this is just typical YouTube. Anybody that wants to make a video about a topic will make that video, and that will populate the algorithm with pretty much the same video over and over again, and you'll be seeing it in your feeds if you show interest in it. And here's the thing, though. The rest of it is people trying to chase the algorithm. So I don't know, 250 videos. Some of these are like multiple people from multiple creators who are essentially making the same video with different titles and only tiny little updates, but not before spending a bunch of time uncorking yet again on the topic they've been chasing clicks with. Now, I know YouTube does have a video spam policy where if you make multiple videos on your channel that look too much alike, that can be considered a problem. But yeah, I can definitely say 250 videos is a good cutoff point for this. I think I've made my point, and I think you folks now have a good example of why you should look at influencer meltdowns with a grain of salt and a little bit of skepticism. I don't know how many people follow, all this mental health stuff that people are talking about, but freaking yourself out and psyching yourself up because of internet stuff is actually bad for your health. So the internet and algorithms, which by the way is for profit, they want your eyeballs on their app. So if it looks like you want to freak out over everybody's video about something, the algorithm's going to serve it to you, as long as you have engagement that they can then sell ad space with or collect personal data from. I mean, big tech fundamentally just doesn't care about you. It's the brutal truth to all of this. You may think that big tech is informing us or providing a service, but when you look at something like this, where the algorithm will send you everybody's meltdown about something and make it look way bigger than it actually is, when you start thinking about that, that should get you to step back and take a deep breath and realize, look, the internet, there's a lot of people and organizations out there that make money by freaking you out and keeping you freaked out so your eyeballs stay on their app. Seriously, think about that next time you see your YouTube feed filling up with people's freak out videos, where it's essentially the same video but with different names and faces. Same video telling you the same stuff over and over again. This is why I'm on this anti-influencer thing, because this was just one example with Xbox Gamepassmageddon. And I really wish it was an isolated incident, but it is not. It is a very regular thing, and I decided that I'd finally had enough of this nonsense. And I wanted one good example And I have that good example now with these 250 videos about Gamepassmageddon. This may shrink, who knows? People may delete or private videos and the playlist will shrink like other playlists. But we've gotten to the point where we've gone from videos being about the price hike to mentioning the price hike. So the Game Pass changes have now gone into history. They're being cited as like, oh, you know, Microsoft did this, that's part of why they suck, instead of them freaking out because it just happened. And I'd like to think that after nearly 2 weeks of this garbage, that we would have hit this point by now. So yeah, to recap for people that actually want to know what I'm responding to here, Xbox is retooling Game Pass to be more in line with other people's services. And Game Pass Ultimate is higher now. There's a premium being charged for day one access, which, by the way, falls in line with the rest of the industry. Ubisoft is doing it, EA is doing it, and PlayStation never did it with PlayStation Plus. There is no day and date part of PlayStation Plus, which might be the reason why the prices don't actually shoot up. If they do, it is more pure greed on Sony's side than on Microsoft's side, because anybody with any sense that looks over things like Game Pass and PlayStation Plus and what you get with these subscription services, anybody who puts their head on straight and looks this stuff up for themselves is going to see that there's that key difference. So if Sony jumps on the bandwagon and raises prices, that will be more pure greed than what Microsoft just did, because Sony never had day and date service that they're now tacking a premium onto. Unless they want to add another tier of PlayStation Plus that is super expensive with day and date, just like everybody else, that would just be, them falling into line with their competitors. But I just want to say, though, for those of you folks that are actually using some common sense now while you're freaking out on the internet and you're like, oh no, what am I going to do now? I'm treating Game Pass like a rental subscription. You should have been treating it like a rental subscription all along. How quickly can you lose interest in a game that you need something like Game Pass and that you can justify the cost of Game Pass, even at $20 or $15 a month? How quickly do you go through your games? The way it works, Game Pass is supposed to be a rental subscription. That's all it ever was. You may have fallen for the marketing of best value in gaming, but it's just marketing BS. Why did you ever take it seriously? It's wild. 20 years ago, studying business in college, I was told by marketing professors that the marketing world was facing a crisis because people were skeptical about traditional advertising and sales pitches. There needed to be new methods to sell products. And I think the astroturfing and the fake reviews we've been seeing on various sites like Amazon and whatnot have been part of that. And some of the changes in new FTC regulations on notifying when you're being paid to promote something, that's the sort of stuff that has happened over the last 20 years that was part of those new measures or whatever you want to call them. But I don't know if you're taking advertising stuff at face value, that's a you problem. You should always be skeptical of people's sales pitches. When you go to the corporate puppet show, look for the strings and see who's pulling them. Don't ever take it at face value. Xbox Game Pass has always been a rental subscription. And the reason why I related Xbox Game Pass Ultimate to cable TV is because the cheapest cable packages where I'm at start at $30 a month. And with all those bundled things like Fortnite Crew and Ubisoft Classics and EA Play, with all that bundle garbage, it is basically cable TV. It's a little smorgasbord of everything that you pay a flat rate for, whether you make use of it or not. Just like $30 cable service that gives you 60 channels, whatever the cheapo cable is like these days. And maybe you'll find something to watch or not. It's the same thing. Now, it's interesting listening to people bellyache about, is it worth it? Is it worth it? What am I getting for my $20, $30 a month from these subscriptions? That's a good question to be asking. What are you getting? What are you getting? Because people are going on about how, Xbox Game Pass isn't worth it anymore. These are just rental subscriptions. I want to actually own stuff. How do you justify paying an MMO subscription then? The cost of Xbox, what's now going to be Xbox Game Pass Premium, for one game instead of access to a changing library of games, similar to gaming Netflix. How do you justify that? Same thing with Spotify. You know, you people that just stream on Spotify, how do you justify your Spotify subscriptions? You know, the never-ending rental society didn't pop up overnight with Microsoft. So that's how I know that Microsoft is getting singled out. Whether it's trendy on YouTube to single Microsoft out, whether there's a bunch of astroturfing from Sony fanboys, I really don't care. You need to use the brain that's in your head to not be a sucker for this garbage. Because I'll tell you, whatever criticism you might have over Game Pass's revamp is something that you'll probably want to explain with something else, like an MMO sub or Spotify or any subscription service. How about video subscription services? You know, how about one of the pluses or the maxes or whatever? How do you justify that? It's a regular money sink. Do you watch enough? I mean, you're just using, when you're asking yourself, am I playing enough games to make $20 or $30 a month worth it? When you ask yourself those questions, you are asking yourself the questions that you should be asking yourself with every subscription service that you subscribe to, not just video games. Definitely not just video games. Are you watching enough movies or videos or TV shows or whatever on your video streaming service to justify that? These are perfectly valid consumer questions. It doesn't mean that Microsoft has failed at something, that you are finally thinking with Game Pass the way that you should have been thinking all along. Seriously. But hey, 250 videos. I think that's good enough. I hope you folks think long and hard about what you're spending your money on. Especially when a la carte, if you can find a way to get access to some kind of cheap games through a coupon code or a bare bones Game Pass membership or something like that, or a PC game on Steam, although PC gaming is still the giant money sink that it is compared to consoles. Now, this is normal consumer behavior. You don't need to act like some whiny girlfriend who's about to dump her boyfriend because her boyfriend's doing something different. I don't know if I can stay together with him anymore. People change. Products and services change. It's the way life is. I've already been through this before when Reed Hastings split Netflix discs from streaming, effectively doubling the price of the service if you wanted what you had before, when you could rent discs and stream for like $8-10 a month in 2000s money. This stuff happens. And if you live your life based on what people making money by having hissy fits on the internet are telling you, are trying to tell you and get you all worked up about, so you'll keep watching their videos and giving them watch time and maybe ad stuff and whatnot. If you buy into that, you are going to be way more miserable than you really need to be. Hence my skepticism. Hence the angry comments, because the internet hive mind is not smart, and the internet hive mind doesn't like being reminded that it's not smart. But you don't have to fall for it. Let someone else be the sucker that gets tied up in knots in the internet hive mind. MultimediaJay out.
So you say that it's all over when we never had a fight. You never had a fight. Does it need